Now, I think that we all can really safely agree that Kathleen Kennedy was really never a best fit for Star Wars because of what she did with the sequel trilogy and other projects out there, and exactly how she sees the Star Wars fans and doesn't really understand the overall franchise to its core. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars, yes, we do know that they have garnered George Lucas, Dave Filoni, and Jon Favreau to all act together as a team to deliver as much authentic Star Wars material as possible in order to really shape up Star Wars, to really bring it back to its roots. And that's what they are indeed going to be doing on Disney Plus when it comes to their handful of new Star Wars TV shows and other aspects out there, like the new movies, etc., that are really going to throw things into perspective for the Star Wars fandom. So when we actually take a closer look at everything of what's happening between George, John, and Dave, they are all handling the Star Wars universe in a very big and different way in order to really shift away from what many would call the Kathleen Kennedy timeline of Star Wars. You know, her work on the sequel trilogy and how she handled Solo. With the exception of Rogue One, make no mistake, but Kathleen Kennedy was the one responsible for really cutting out a lot of Darth Vader scenes from that movie. So she still had a big impact on Rogue One having less material of Darth Vader in there. So let's not forget about that as well. Not saying that Rogue One is a bad movie per se. I honestly think it's the strongest movie of Disney's Star Wars as far as the overall story and the consistency of how well it's told. That's just my opinion. I don't know about you guys, but I think it just feels more connected to the original trilogy. So, with that being said, what's really substantial is that one of the biggest problems within the Star Wars universe not so long ago was Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy and how she handled the sequel trilogy films, and how that in itself created a domino effect on the Star Wars brand in a negative way by also dividing the Star Wars fan base. Now, it's explained that many problems are happening behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm right now. However, these problems are all connected to Kathleen Kennedy and the very big project that she is working on when it comes to Star Wars. It's explained that just recently, Kathleen Kennedy decided to scrap all of the existing scripts by writer Leslie Headland for the new Star Wars TV series and is forcing Headland to restart the core aspects of the story. Now, though the new series will stay true to what Leslie was originally going for, it's described that Kathleen Kennedy wants Headland to throw in more identity politics and cases of real-world issues into the new Star Wars TV show in order to make it feel more relatable to the common moviegoer. Now, let me stop right here. I've always said from the very beginning that this show was going to have a lot of problems, and first things first, it ran into rewrites, I would say, around 2 months ago. Then it fell into creative differences between Larson, Headland, Kathleen Kennedy, and other actors coming on board. And now we're in a scenario where just a couple of days ago, George Lucas regulated it by taking control of roughly 4 episodes, the last 4 episodes of the 12-part series, where Kathleen Kennedy would take control of a total of 10. Or, I should say, around 8, give or take. Now, the thing about that is that when we look at everything related to Kathleen Kennedy, now she's in a scenario where major rewrites are taking place, where she is ordering Leslie Headland to pretty much put all those scripts aside, pretty much take those ideas, create new dialogue, throw in new agendas, and promote more activism. This to me sounds like it is going to be Batwoman all over again. I don't know about you guys, but Batwoman on television was absolutely horrible. It was a massive failure, and they still continued. They still tried to keep pushing and pushing it forward, and a lot of fans were just not having it. It's one of the main reasons as to why the ratings pretty much fell sharply. And I think that we actually are going to experience something very similar here within the next 2 years, give or take, because they're still aiming to drop this in 2022, which isn't all that far away if you really think about it. We're already pretty much into 2021, so we're going to see this thing sooner or later, or maybe we won't, Given how things are going right now, I would not be too surprised if this show eventually gets completely canceled and Kathleen Kennedy is no longer going to have any form of legacy when it comes to Star Wars on Disney+. Now, with that being said, this all begins to really unfold, is that it's noted that Kathleen Kennedy is very determined to get this show done by the end of 2021, with post-production starting in early 2022, while also getting ready to release it in either May or December of 2022 for the Star Wars fans and new fans to witness. Now, it's described that Kathleen Kennedy is currently in panic mode in order to get the series done on time, and that she is still having creative differences with actress Brie Larson about her character Maeve in the new series. It's described that Kathleen Kennedy wants to make it clear to the Star Wars fans that she will no longer be following George Lucas's vision for the first 8 episodes. Alright, so those first 8 episodes, she refuses to actually follow George Lucas's vision when it comes to Star Wars. This, to me, I don't know about you guys, but it's very much offensive. This is a guy that really poured his entire life into making Star Wars become the very thing it is today, or at least what it was. And I think that at the end of the day, when we look at George Lucas, this man is an innovator. He is a pioneer. If it weren't for George, I don't think that the science fiction genre would have really evolved so fast when it came to ILM and, new technology and different ways of filming and all these different techniques that George Lucas really established. So I think that we ought to respect George Lucas, especially Kathleen Kennedy. I really do believe that she really has no respect for him in any way, shape, or form. She always viewed Star Wars just as this money-making machine. And that's why, a lot of her actions seem very, authentic, I guess you could say, when it comes to Star Wars. So, however, Lucas will have some form of control still over the last 4 episodes of the 12-part TV series for Disney+. This is said to be Disney's way to regulate the new Star Wars show, where Leslie Headland is said to be under tons of stress right now in order to get things done on time with Kathleen Kennedy's demands within Star Wars. Not just that, but also Brie Larson is said to have a bigger role in the rewrites for the new Star Wars TV series, since Larson threatened Kennedy that she would leave the project if she was not given more screen time in the new Star Wars show. So, once again, guys, Larson is also involved with this. She's overly demanding. We talked about this. She's not my favorite actress out there. In fact, I thought that she really did not fit well within Captain Marvel, and that's pretty much, I think a lot of fans' opinions about Brie Larson's actions in Captain Marvel. Some of you might like her, and that's fine. We all have our own opinions. That's a part of being human. I understand that. But Larson, to me, I just feel that she's also got this constant agenda in her mind, and that she also just does not care about communities per se, be it Marvel or Star Wars. She just does not care. She really does remind me of Kathleen Kennedy in a way, except in an actress's boots. So, further, Kathleen Kennedy is hard at work with other creators for the first 10 episodes of the show, and that Headland is going to begin more rewrites as early as this weekend, where more agendas will be thrown into the story for the fans to witness. George Lucas is very unhappy, however, with Kennedy's call to initiate rewrites for the show. However, it is out of Lucas's control, since Kennedy is supervising the series and has creative control over the new show that will evolve Star Wars for new fans. Now, Kennedy also wants to make sure that the first 8 episodes have nothing to do with George's vision of Star Wars, and wants to build something from the ground up instead that will be completely original to the Star Wars world. This is their way of also creating their own mini-verse, if you will, within Star Wars as well, so that they can can actually completely change George Lucas's philosophy of Star Wars and compete against George, John, and Dave and their massive new Star Wars universe that is actively under development as we speak. So let's not forget, make no mistake, George, John, and Dave are going to succeed. They have over a dozen Star Wars projects that they are working on. What does Kathleen Kennedy have? 1, with the possibility of this going into a season 2 if it really is all that successful. That's what they're aiming for. A potential miniverse, if you will. That's what Kathleen Kennedy wants to leave behind before she is no longer associated with Lucasfilm in any scenario. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.